Hello, Sparkles One. I wanted to finish chapter 1 of The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane. I'm not feeling so well. Everybody gets sick sometimes. But I read you chapter 1 of the story. Do you remember what happened? There's a little bunny. I think it's a porcelain bunny. I want to find him. Maybe I'll go to thrift stores and see if I can find him. And he's waiting for his owner to get home. Do you remember her name? Abilene, yes. So let's see what happens the rest of chapter 1. I'll let you look at this and imagine what's happening. Of all the seasons of the year, the rabbit most preferred winter, for the sun set early then, and the dining room windows became dark, and Edward could see his own reflection in the glass. And what a reflection it was! What an elegant figure he cut! Edward never ceased to be amazed at his own fineness. In the evening, Edward sat at the dining room table with the other members of the Tulane family, Abilene, her mother, and her father, and Abilene's grandmother, who was called Pellegrina. True, Edward's ears barely cleared the tabletop, and true also, he spent the duration of the meal staring straight ahead at nothing but the bright and blinding white of the tablecloth. But he was there, a rabbit at the table. Abilene's parents found it charming that Abilene considered Edward real, and then she sometimes requested that a phrase or story be repeated because Edward had not heard it. "Papa," Abilene would say, "I'm afraid that Edward didn't catch that last bit." Abilene's father would then turn in the direction of Edward's ears and speak slowly, repeating what he had just said for the benefit of the china rabbit. Edward pretended, out of courtesy to Abilene, to listen, but in truth he was not very interested in what people had to say, and also he did not care for Abilene's parents and their condescending manner toward him. All adults, in fact, condescending to him. That's a really big word to learn, condescending. I think I would have to think about how to explain it to the children. I think the best way to say it is when grown-ups talk to children like they don't know a lot of things. But you are all very smart. You know a lot of things. We can come back to that another time. Abilene's father would then turn in the direction of Edward's ears and speak slowly, repeating what he had just said for the... Oh, I already read that. Hold on. Only Abilene's grandmother spoke to him as Abilene did, as one equal to another. So that's the opposite of condescending, when a grown-up talks to a child equally. Because what children have to say is very important. Grown-ups need to remember that too. Pellegrina was very old. She had a large, sharp nose and bright black eyes that shone like dark stars. It was Pellegrina who was responsible for Edward's existence. It was she who had commissioned his making. She who had ordered his silk suits and his pocket watch, his jaunty hats and his bendable ears, his fine leather shoes and his jointed arms and legs, all from a master craftsman in her native France. Native France. That means Abilene's grandma was from France, and she had Edward made. How special. Grandparents can be very special. Very kind. Are your grandparents like that? It was Pellegrina who had given him as a gift to Abilene on her 7th birthday. Let's look at the little bunny picture. There we go. And it was Pellegrina who came each night to tuck Abilene into her bed and Edward into his. "Will you tell us a story, Pellegrina?" Abilene asked her grandmother each night. "Not tonight, lady," said Pellegrina. "When?" asked Abilene. "What night?" "Soon," said Pellegrina. "Soon there will be a story." And then she turned off the light, and Edward and Abilene lay in the dark of the bedroom. "I love you, Edward," Abilene said each night after Pellegrina had left. She said those words and then she waited, almost as if she expected Edward to say something in return. Edward said nothing. He said nothing because, of course, he could not speak. He lay in his small bed next to Abeline's large one. He stared up at the ceiling and listened to the sound of her breath entering and leaving her body, knowing that soon she would be asleep, because Edward's eyes were painted on and he could not close them. He was always awake. Oh boy. Sometimes, if Abeline put him into his bed on his side instead of his back, he could see through the cracks in the curtains and out into the dark night. On clear nights, the stars shone, and their pinprick light comforted Edward in a way that he could not quite understand. Often he stared at the stars all night until the dark finally gave way to dawn. Okay, we made it to chapter 2 this time. There's Edward and Abeline. Do you have a bunny or a stuffed animal or something you care for so much? When I was a little girl, I had a doll, and his name was Bobby Joe Beaver. And I used to hold him and love him so much. What do you have? Okay, chapter 2 tomorrow. Love you, bye.